Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Oh, the best of mornings to everyone. Happy Wednesday. Chandler, Lou Will. Oh, you're wearing your Fernando Tatis hat this morning, Chandler. That's fun. I thought you were a Dodgers guy.
I am, just a hat. This company sent me some hats. I'm just letting them rip.
No loyalty, none at all. Good news, guys. We got a guest right off the top of the show today. And what a day to have Mr. Boogie Cousins back on the show, because a lot of news broke yesterday, long after we were off the air. Yeah, they got rid of Tibbs. 5 seasons in New York, a culture change, winning playoffs, 51 wins just this past season, and it doesn't seem to be good enough because Tom Thibodeau fired as head coach. Boogie, we'll start with you. Your reaction to hearing this news?
I was shocked. I was shocked. You know, obviously we can speak on the success that Tibbs has had while he's been with the Knicks. You know, before he got there, they weren't this team that was, you know, in the place they are now, or, you know, even close to the success they've had as of lately. But my opinion, I do think it was a bit of an overreaction. I think they overachieved in the playoffs, which was great for them. I think everybody played a part in that. As far as Tibbs getting fired, I mean, I think they could have went to next season with Tibbs, you know, made some adjustments to their roster, improved the team. But also, you know, everybody's been on record of not being a fan of the way Tibbs, being a fan of Tibbs' coaching style. You know, he kind of runs players into the ground. He overplays them. It's a very, very short lineup, regular season and throughout the postseason run. So, you know, all of these things I also feel played a factor into them, you know, coming up short with their playoff run. So I do still feel it was a bit of an overreaction. But, you know, obviously the Knicks are in a win now mode. They plan on improving this team, you know, taking steps forward. So we'll see what comes from this.
Yeah, I agree. And I said this last week. I think let's look at what they did this season, right? Like they won 51 games for the 5 years that Tibbs was there. They made the playoffs. Yeah, they didn't make it to the finals. Yeah, they didn't win an NBA championship, but one team does that. So when these teams overreact like this, I just think it's so short-sighted. Now, long term, I don't think he's the answer for this team. He's 67 years old. He's not the future coach for this team moving forward. So I get that, but they just beat Boston. They did, and that's with Jason Tatum before he got hurt. So let's not say it's because Tatum got hurt. The Knicks beat the Boston Celtics, who everybody thought was going to be the NBA champions this year and go back to back. They overcame adversity throughout the season with Jalen Brunson going down. They won a lot of games. So, again, I think he's a solid coach. I don't think he's the answer and the solution for the future. But, man, I just hate the way the head coaches get hired and fired, and they just the leadership, they panic and just make a move so quickly when I don't think it's a fair situation for Tibbs. I really don't. And again, he's not really a new age style coach. He's a run players to the ground. He's a short rotation guy. He's the comments from Bridges and the players about being exhausted and playing too many minutes. You never really see that, right? As a player, as a kid, you want to play the most minutes possible. And now it's a problem when this guy plays you too many minutes, because nowadays with load management and all the medical science that we have behind us. But I think you got to roll into the deal. But listen, 67 years old, go get you $30 million. He probably won't get another head coaching job again, but that's fine. He is financially set, and I do think he got the roll into this deal, though. But whoever gets this job, it's a great job, because the Knicks are in a position to win right now.
And I told you, Chandler, I wasn't campaigning for Tibbs to get fired, but I said it was something that you're gonna take a look at. You gotta look at it. You know, this year is considered probably a letdown, even though they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. We were thinking that this team was gonna advance. We were thinking that they were gonna be one of those teams. We had them in that championship conversation to give Boston a run for their money. And even though they did what they were supposed to do and get to the Eastern Conference Finals, a lot of people can consider them losing to a team that they thought or probably considered that they should have beat, even though it was a 3-4 matchup, you know, as far as that go. And Tibbs, he's had a history of, you know, some guys having some injuries due to the fact of playing too many minutes, you know, hamstring pulls and things of that nature. So you got to take a look at it. And you had the controversy where guys were complaining about minutes played and saying that they were tired and not being able to get over the hump and where they were in the season at that point. And so I thought they accomplished a lot of things. I thought they had a great run. I thought Tibbs did an amazing job, winning 60% of his games while he was there. But again, when you don't get over that hump, when you don't win the big game, when you don't get to the destination that you set out to get to, everything has to be looked at. We do it with the players all the time. If guys not making it happen, look what Knicks did to Julius Randle and Cat. They swapped these guys out if they feel like you're not getting the job done. Nothing is different for the coaches, right? This is the culture that we've created in the NBA now. It's fast turnover if you're not getting the job done. And so with that, you can say that this season was somewhat of a letdown. You can even say last season was somewhat of a letdown and guys not getting to where they want to go based on the team that they have and based on the roster that was built. And you always got to look at leadership first. So Tibbs was the odd man out when it came to that.
And
I mean, look, it's only been decades since they were relevant and great. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure this will go swimmingly, guys. Very smooth transition.
And I feel like the season itself was a success, right? Everything they did, the wins, getting to the conference finals was a success.
Yes.
Losing to the Indiana Pacers in the conference finals, that is the disappointment. That is not getting over the hump. I feel like if they did what they did and they lose to this healthy Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, I don't think he gets fired. I think everyone expects Celtics to be a top dog. So it's the fact that they go to the Eastern Conference Finals and they lose to a team that they feel they're better than, and they feel like they maybe got outcoached by Carlisle. I think that was the issue, not them, not their season. You know what I mean? I think that was not getting over that hump, getting the finals against a team that they feel like they were probably better than. They should be playing Oklahoma City right now.
So the goalpost move is what you're saying. We move the goalpost. Don't lose to the Celtics, you're fine. Lose to anyone else, we fire you. What a cesspool. What a cesspool of an industry. Truly. It is the worst. We'll get to the Coach of the Year kiss of death situation as well. But obviously yesterday, as soon as this news breaks, then the lists start coming out. Who do you hire? Who's the guy, since it's not Tibbs? Boogie, I'll start with you. Do you have a top of your head who you think it should be?
I think the obvious choice is Jay Wright. They most of their starters are from that Villanova championship team. I feel like they built the team based off their chemistry and, their past success. So it only makes sense for them to bring in the head coach that led them to that championship. Do I think it's the, right answer? I'm not really quite sure. I do think Jay Wright is a hell of a coach. I do think he'll help them find some success, but, the ultimate answer is them competing for a championship. So with this roster and, possibly adding a guy like Jay Wright, I think it's great for storylines. I think it's, great from camaraderie, but, I don't know if it leads them to a championship. Not right now. Obviously, they have to improve the roster and things of that nature, but, the glaring choice to me is Jay Wright.
Man,
you want a storyline, Boogie?
Oh, go ahead.
What you got for them?
You know who they should look at? Rick
Who is that?
Brunson. There you go.
Lou, have you slept yet? Have you slept yet?
They should look at Rick Brunson. I know, hey, listen, I know RB is in that office like, y'all need a guy. I mean, hey, I'm local. I know the guys. I know the star player pretty. I know the star player pretty decently. Me and him got a pretty cool rapport. I may be able to help here, but no.
Jalen got an MVP season on the way, man.
No, but all jokes aside, look, again, you might have to take a look at it. But Jay Wright sounds like an obvious pick to have his name in the hat here. Even Mike Malone is out there. He's doing TV, but I'm sure he's itching to get back into coaching. But I think they take a look at somebody young. Take a look at somebody that understands where the game is going, how this thing is evolving, the roster that you have, and how to put those guys in the best positions possible. I'm hearing that they're going to take 2 or 3 weeks to take their time and create a coaching pool and make a decision from there. So, I'm sure a lot of names and a lot of different coaches and a lot of different established coaches' resumes will come up in the next couple of weeks. So let's see what they do.
And listen, this is a hell of a job. It's a huge market. I think going to get a Jay Wright or the UConn coach Hurley, like I feel like that's such a tough thing
no, you can't do this.
To be the head coach of the
he
Knicks.
will explode. His head will explode.
Yeah, NBA
That's what I mean. To pull
Brutal.
someone up from college, I don't even care if it's the Villanova, if it's Jay Wright. Like that to me is such a risky move when you're the New York Knicks. That is a pressure-packed job. But then on the flip side, like, what are you going to go get a Jenkins or a Malone who just got fired for the same exact reason? Like in Memphis and Denver, not getting over that hump, not maximizing.
I mean, but Mike Malone is a championship coach, so that's.
But is he that different? Is Mike Malone that different than Tibbs?
Yeah, that goes back
he's
to
a
the whole
championship coach. That makes him different.
That goes back to the whole cesspool thing Michelle just said. Like, it's just funneling here and there. Like, I'd rather them go get a Sam Cassell.
I prefer a brand new guy.
A new guy.
Yeah, like
I put $1 on Johnny Bryant. That was my dollar yesterday.
Like Johnny Bryant. Go get a Chris.
Let's go get Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo.
Boogie, you said this before, and I don't hate it at all.
I don't hate it either.
Rondo.
I don't hate. I'm just over the coaches getting fired and hired at another place. Let's fire Doc. Let's hire him here. It's like, I think they need to go a younger, fresh face. Be there for the future. Build with it. Like we just talked about the consistency and the less turnover. Like you can't do that obviously with a 67-year-old coach. You know he's not the coach of the future. That's fine. But now bring in a Mark Dagnall, a young guy that you can grow with and be there for the future and kind of develop these guys in the relationship. So I love like a Sam Cassell. I love a Chris Quinn. I love a Jared Dudley. I love like someone young like that's been in the game for a while that can step right in.
Wait, Boogie, do you think Rajon Rondo would want to do this job? I know the coaching thing and obviously the brain, but would he want this job?
Absolutely. I think he would be the perfect guy for the job. I mean, if we praise, JJ, and this is no knock, I think JJ is a really good coach, but if we praise JJ, for his level of IQ and his understanding of the game, I mean, Rondo is light years ahead of him. So when it comes to any coaching job, I think his name should be in the hat. He's a winner. He knows the game. He's also a great teacher of the game. He was that when he was a player, so you can only imagine what he would be when he's a full-time coach. So I absolutely think he's the guy for the job. Any opening, I think his name should be.
Going into it, he's got more coaching experience than JJ Redick. JJ only coached his daughter or his son's rec league team. At least Rondo was coaching AAU basketball. And we already know he's a savant. We know that he knows the game. He's an X and O guy. His IQ is on another level. Who better than Rondo to have an opportunity to at least interview for this job? So we're not even sure if his name will be in this hat or if he even wants to do this gig. But as far as we're concerned, we're rooting for you, Doe. Go get that one.
Absolutely.
What does that do? Like, I mean, I like this. I like this hypothetical. I say we explore it. What does it do for Jalen Brunson? If you get a guy like Rajon Rondo that's heading the ship, how much does that help the growth of Jalen Brunson?
It'll definitely help him grow. Obviously, having a guy like that lead you with the experiences he's had, he's seen it from all aspects. He's been the guy. He's played with different Hall of Famers. I don't think it's an experience. He has an experience being in the NBA. He even won in the later years of his career. So I think he's the perfect teacher for Brunson. I think he can help elevate his game. I think he'll help him gain a better understanding of making the guys around him better on top of being the superstar that he is. So, I think he's the perfect teacher. And he's young. He relates. He understands the players. Like those things, those type of things matter. When you have a good understanding with your players because you've been on that side of things, I think it only helps.
I know Chris Paul said he's going to play another year, Chandler, but what if Chris Paul's like, can I at least just get an interview? Is there a world? I mean, we've seen things happen crazier.
I think the NBA this year has showed us that nothing would surprise us this year. Once LUKA got traded, I swear all cards are off the deck. And again, I'm thinking no way the Los Angeles Lakers are going to hire a dude with no coaching experience, and they go and hire JJ Redick, who had a pretty good year. Then there's ex-players that are brilliant minds like Steve Nash, who didn't really make it as a head coach, and he's one of the smartest guys to ever touch a basketball. So it kind of goes both ways when you look at an ex-player and their IQ and the way they can play the game so beautifully like Rajon Rondo did. Is he a good name? Is it Chris Paul? I think one day he's going to be a head coach, but I think, listen, he's all over the team's radar. You're here. Dallas wants him. Houston wants him. Like, he's still going to play. So I don't think someone like that, but yeah, I think one of those, pass first floor general guards, Jalen Brunson, could really benefit from learning how to play off the ball, with the ball, setting up your guys. So I don't think you necessarily have to bring him in as a head coach. You can bring in someone like that as an assistant or development guy, and they can kind of work their way up. Like these other coaches, like the Sam Cassells, the Jared Dudleys that I've mentioned, that have been assistant coaches for multiple years. But again, the Lakers just proved it doesn't have to be someone in the league already. They can make a splash. I don't think they will. I think this team right now is built to win right now, and they want someone to come in and kind of handle that situation. But who knows, man? I think, like I said, the NBA is. I didn't think this was going to happen. I just went on a whole rant earlier this week saying there's no way they're firing Tibbs. So what do I know?
I literally gasped.
I tried to tell you, Chandler. You were ready to die on that hill. I tried to tell you. They at least got to look at it.
But you know why, Lou? Because I think Chandler was thinking to himself, like I was, like, okay, yeah, it's possible, but surely not. Surely 51 wins. It's a garbage. It's a garbage business. I don't know why anybody wants to be a coach, but here we are. We'll stay in New York though, because it was inevitable, right? As sure as the sun was going to come up, Boogie, we got to start putting some blame. And there's a group, pretty vocal group of Knicks fans out there that immediately upon being dismissed from the playoffs have started to put point blame at Cat. And then we're hearing little leaks of, players weren't happy with Cat, defense, this, all of these little things, the hate is coming out. Are you surprised by that? Where do you think that's coming from? Is it there's merit?
I think after the series was over, it was a lot of things you could dissect from the series and say, they could have did this, and this better. I think it was shared blame. That's, if let's say if they hypothetically won, not one person is getting all the credit for winning. So it shouldn't be the same thing when it comes to losing. I do think Cat played a role in, some of their shortcomings. Obviously, defense is the biggest thing. But as a whole, I think this team was missing a go-to scorer. I mean, obviously you have, Jalen Brunson, but outside of that, you don't have really a prolific scorer. So, or a guy that can, here's the ball, go get us a bucket, get us a win. I do think Jalen Brunson can be a compliment piece to a guy like that. I think he's a great number 2. But I think it's hard. I think it's hard for them to expect, a title run with not only a short, but also unathletic guard that's your go-to guy. Eventually, I think, his flaws will show at some point throughout the series, which they did. So I do think they need to add another prolific scorer, a guy like maybe a Kevin Durant or a Giannis or something of that nature. And I think that type of move gets this team over the hump. But, I also think, a coaching change could do the same thing for them. It's so many different, pieces with this team that could, easily improve in the season. So it's hard to just put it on one specific thing. So I do think they can still find success with Cat. Obviously, you have to find the right piece to complement him as well. So I don't think it's just any one person's fault. I think it's obviously a combination of things. And, also I feel like this when it comes to the Knicks fans. Like, I'm happy for you guys' success, but it's crazy. Like, you find this success and now quickly you're now, finding blame. And it was also even the scenes of hitting fans with trash bags and shit. Excuse my language, but I think they got a little
Boogie, they attacked Brian Windhorst.
It's definitely
Who attacks Brian Windhorst in this?
You turn into assholes in the moment of success. So
garbage.
Let's calm down. Let's take a deep breath and let's really analyze the season that you guys had and actually appreciate, what these guys went out and did for you guys this season. Yeah. They represented the city well. They should be getting credit for how they represented the city. They brought you to a place that you haven't been to in a very long time. So let's show these guys some appreciation and let's take a deep breath at the same time.
I think, Boogie, I think what we're seeing, though, with the media talking about Cat, with Tibbs being fired and all of these things, this is all justifying them to go full throttle at Giannis. This is what this is lining up to me. So let's see how that play out. I want to switch gears with you, man. As we look at the NBA Finals tipping off tomorrow, talking about OKC and SGA and the conversation around, are we seeing a dynasty being built? Are we seeing the beginning phase? Now, I think they got to finish their breakfast. We got to stop overlooking the Pacers in the manner that we do. I think these guys still got to finish their breakfast. But if they get this one, are we looking at the beginning of a dynasty?
I think that's obvious. I think we're looking at the beginning of a dynasty anyway. Even if, let's say they don't win it this year, we're going to sit here and say they won't be the favorite the next season. I mean, it's absolutely the start of a dynasty. I think it's a dynasty that'll be even more powerful than what we saw with the Warriors. And the reason I say that, when the Warriors were in their heyday and they had everything rolling, they never had the assets that this Thunder team has. I mean, this Thunder team is probably built to be successful for the next 10, 12 years, which is unheard of in the NBA. And I mean, they're there now with the team they have. They have all the assets coming up. I mean, God forbid they run into an injury. They have the assets to go get another superstar to replace an injury. Like, I think this team is set. I think they're the model right now. I think a lot of teams will start trying to copy the model that they, or this blueprint that they put out, as far as, how they collected all these assets. They built up the young players and things of that nature, especially for these smaller market teams. I think they're the blueprint. So I absolutely think this is the beginning of a dynasty for this Thunder organization.
SGA already got the MVP, got the Western Conference MVP. If he goes out and get this ring, is it for sure he's the number one guy ever coming out of OKC? Does he eclipse KD and Russ if he goes and gets this ring?
I think and this is no disrespect to those two guys. They mean the world to, OKC, obviously. But I do think, as of right now, he surpassed K, which is hard to say. And obviously you can argue that. I think
put him right there in a second. Russ stayed a little longer.
Russ, I think he has a couple more seasons to go. I mean, Russ was OKC before any of this even happened. He was Mr. OKC. And, I think obviously winning the championship puts him that much closer to, being that person. But I think a couple more seasons, he'll be that guy for sure. But he's definitely in the conversation, regardless of, anyone's opinion. He's
there already. Yeah, he already there.
Absolutely.
It's funny too, because if we put winning where people ever do, then how do you not have him in the vest once he wins his first championship?
I mean, a parade is
as a player, MVP, but if we're gonna count winning, then we got to count winning when it comes to this. And now, but the last couple of weeks we've been having this conversation of what qualifies a player as a superstar, right? I mean, the whole Tyrese Halliburton thing came out. What would be your criteria of a superstar? I
mean, obviously, it's the on-court performance. I think that's the number one thing. Are you marketable? Can the league push you? Can the league sell you? Do people like you? Obviously, the impact, the global impact as well. You can't be a superstar if you're only known, in the States. I don't consider that a superstar. The league is bigger than that. It's a global brand. So once you start having that global impact, obviously you go into that superstar status. So I think it's a combination of all of those things. Charisma as well. I mean, as great as, Jokic is, you can't sell him. You can't market him because he's not this great personality. And this is by choice. I mean, I had the opportunity to be teammates with him. He doesn't care about the spotlight. He doesn't want to be that type of guy. And then, you have guys like Anthony Edwards who, everything he says is gold. You know what I mean? So obviously charisma matters. So I think it's a combination of all of those things. And, that's what gets you a superstar.
This definition is tough.
I know.
Everyone's
think about
different.
It is tough.
It's different for everybody. Yeah.
Very
it
tough.
really is.
Media is so funny too. Like with Halliburton, for example, this dude's outkicked his coverage. He's led his team to the NBA Finals. Like last year, the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. We're trying to
wait. What does that mean? Outkicked his coverage. I ain't never heard that one before, man. You
he's overseas.
It's usually about who you're married to, but yeah.
Yeah, what I mean? He's literally, the Indiana Pacers are in the finals. This kid's been balling. He's on Team USA. He's voted most overrated player in the NBA. And now we're nitpicking him. Is he a superstar? And me and Lou and Michelle, we talked about there's levels to it. I think there's mega star. There's tiers, right? But in your opinion, especially after this season and this finals run, Boogie, is Tyrese Halliburton a superstar?
For me, when I look at Tyrese Halliburton, I put him in that category of Jason Kidd. Like, obviously, you won't have a guy averaging 25 a game, but the impact he brings to the game, the way he makes the guys around him better, he's a winner, plays the game with grace. His teammates respect him. The league respects him. Obviously, now I think we'll never see him on another list where he's listed as overrated, which I thought was crazy in the first place. But I think Kidd was a star. I think Kidd, back in the day, he had his own shoe. All of these different things. He was a winner. All of these things. But the difference was he was never a guy averaging 25, 30 points a game. He did it with passing the ball, making the guys around him better. Getting the best out of his teammates. And I think that's the same type of player that Tyrese Halliburton is.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, am I going? I'll go. Talk about Shams for a second, because he's a couple bombs. Obviously, yesterday was the biggest one. But he said that this offseason has the potential to be the craziest in NBA history. I mean, that's a statement. All right. We already know some of the names that are out there floating. What are you thinking? What are some big moves we can look to?
Well, I think the biggest one is Giannis. There's so much uncertainty with his future, and obviously every team in the league, if they had an opportunity to get him, they're going to throw their name in the hat. I think the next biggest name is Kevin Durant. Even at this big age, he's still a very, very, very good player. I think any team he goes to that actually has a plan. Because I don't think Phoenix had a plan, and I don't like that. Kevin Durant gets a lot of blame for this. I don't think Phoenix had a plan. It never made sense in the first place. It wasn't. One thing that bothers me with today's NBA is where they just put these superstar names together and think, we got all this talent, we're supposed to win. We're a championship team. They've got away from the foundation of actually putting a team together. And what I mean by team is pieces that actually complement each other. When this person plays next to this guy, it elevates his game. They've gotten away from that foundation. And I think that's why we had the results of what we're seeing in the finals. Two teams. Teams where their guys all complement each other on both sides, with the Pacers and also OKC. So obviously with a guy like KD, I think, if he gets to the right situation, I mean, he's right back as one of those top guys competing for a championship. So I think those two are the biggest, glaring names in the offseason, and where they end up, I mean, it's news everywhere. And we're talking about two guys, superstars. So
yeah. Global.
So when you hear the name KD, and obviously you see the teams, the Houston Rockets, the San Antonio Spurs, kind of these young teams, Golden State Warriors, kind of, does he get, like, which team do you think he makes an immediate contender when you're talking about Kevin Durant?
I mean, obviously the Spurs. I also think he makes an impact with Houston. I think he'll make an impact with the Knicks as well. Sending a guy like KD to Miami, he makes an instant impact. He changes their squad. He changes the trajectory
everywhere. Maybe not Charlotte. Can we agree not Charlotte?
Yeah, not Charlotte. But like I said, it has to be a team. It has to be a team with a plan. Like this, like a plan of actually competing. It just can't be where we're just throwing a group of talent together and, all right, let's go win a championship. That's not how it's going to work. Team with an actual plan. And I think the last team that had a plan for KD was the Warriors. So obviously it has to be a situation that makes sense.
Yeah.
Boogie, always love seeing you, buddy. We will talk soon. We'll take a quick break, and we have more Run It Back on the other side.
Run it up, thanks, bud. Run it back, run it up, run it back.
We're having ourselves a fun show today, guys. We got another guest right around the corner and doesn't need much of an introduction. Of course, the big three about to kick things off here June 14th. Ice Cube is here. By the way, Cube, I heard you and Boogie just cross paths on our little Zoom, little pathway there. Are we going to see Boogie in the big three anytime soon?
I hope so. We would love him. We've been begging to get him and Lou out there. So whenever they ready, we here. We're going to have a great season this season. Hopefully next year they'll be ready to strap it up. We're going to keep asking every year, though.
Do you? I was gonna. Do you? Will you keep asking?
I'm right
Lou,
here.
I think.
Do you not see me right here, Cube? For God's sake.
Oh shoot! Chandler played basketball. Cube. Sorry, I don't know if you knew.
Well, you know you welcome too, bro. Whenever you ready to get down, come get in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can play at this level, and it is a level to this, you more than welcome.
You can watch, Chandler. You can sit and watch, by the way. All right. Sorry. I want to see if that was happening. Lou, you're going to get asked every season. I love that so much.
I don't mind it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you know, I love your game, and your personality. You know what I'm saying? I think you'd be perfect for the big three. You could be yourself, if you still want to hoop, you know what I mean, at the pro level, come on with it, man. We more than happy to have you.
For sure.
Get it, Lou. Get it, Lou.
Cube, I wanted to ask you, man, this season you guys went into the style where, each team is represented by a city. No Atlanta yet. What we got to do to get some ATL representation?
Oh, man, put a group together, man. We start selling franchises. That's how we're planted in cities. And, we got more franchises to sell. So if we get a group from Atlanta to come, and, if it's the right group, then, you'll have a team in Atlanta. You know what I mean? I know you got a few dollars. You could put a nice group.
Yeah, I see Dwight just joined. Congrats to Dwight. I'm sure Josh Smith is sitting around somewhere. We could put a group together. That'll be dope. Yeah, but congratulations on getting Dwight. Hopefully Boogie and some more guys, and he'd be projecting up. Yeah.
Yeah, people still want to see superstars. People still want to see, the names they love play the game. So, when guys are, fresh out of the NBA, we after them. We've been on Dwight for 2 or 3 years, and, this year he said yes. So more than happy. We got Montrezl Harrell, we got Lance Stevenson, Wesley Johnson, so we got some new players being injected into this league, and we happy for that. We want to see them play.
Yeah, Cube, some of the names you just mentioned obviously are big names, and the LA Riot, the Miami 305, the rosters, they look stacked, right? So which team do you think are going to make the most fireworks going into this season?
Man, like you said, every team is stacked. The LA Riot look, on paper, they look like they're unbeatable. But, that Miami 305 look good. The Boston Ball Hogs look great with the squad they got. And then you have Detroit Amplifiers. They looking strong too. They got Joe Johnson, who's the 3-time MVP of the league. So it's going to be a battle this summer for sure.
I love this. There were rumors last year. Wait, what'd you say, Lou?
I'm looking at this 305 team. Chalmers, Beasley, Stevenson, and Reggie Evans. They might get 100 offensive rebounds a game.
No doubt. Reggie he's the rebound champion of the league. Nobody has more rebounds in the big three than Reggie Evans. So, Beasley's our reigning MVP. They were one basket away from winning the championship last year. So they coming back with a vengeance, no doubt.
I can't believe it's been 8. This has flown by the 8 seasons. I remember that's just starting like it was yesterday. The Caitlin Clark thing last year, I know it made big news that there was an offer out there for a couple years, $10 million to play. Was that a real offer? And does it stand forever?
Yeah, it was a real offer. We prepared to fulfill the offer. We just wanted to have a conversation with her and her family about it. That didn't happen. I think the agents kept us away. And, we moved on, and, she's doing great in the WNBA. We wish her well. And, we're looking forward to June 14th, game 1, Chicago, All-State Arena. It's going down.
I want to ask you this, Q. Unrivaled on the women's side has some success launching their 3-on-3, and they played kind of 3-quarter court, where you kind of see a little open style of a game. Is that something that you could possibly look into, or you good with the structure how y'all play now?
I'm good with our style. Our style, playing with the one basket, traditional 3-on-3 style. I think that's, to me, for our game, it's better for the growth of the game. Youth can go out there and play our style on any court that's out there. It's going to be hard to find 3-quarter courts. I don't even know if there's any in the country. So that to me is just, it's kind of like a deal breaker for me. Half court is the way to go when it comes to 3-on-3 basketball.
Cube, is there someone that you watch, like when you're watching the NBA and you're like, damn, I can't wait till, he or she retires so I can go and try and get this person? Or like, who's the one person that you've always wanted that you just haven't been able to get yet?
You mean Lou?
Yeah, Lou Will, for example.
Lou Will.
Right, you want a team in Atlanta, Lou? Sign up.
Lou,
it's
easy.
a few out there.
I think it's timing. Cube and I have had some conversations, but I think it's just timing, man. I got so much going on with coaching in the summer and things that I've committed to, but timing is everything. If we can get on the same page, I'd definitely be down for it. I don't even think Cube realizes I was at the very first Big Three game that they had in Brooklyn, New York. I was there to support AI when he was involved, and I was like, oh, this is something that I want to be a part of. So timing is everything. Don't take it off the table just yet. We might have something in store soon.
No, we never gonna take it off the table. You're gonna have to take it off the table. But we know, for a lot of your life, a lot of basketball players' lives, they plan to do other things in the summer. So, that's an obstacle for the Big Three. Just kind of changing what basketball players are used to doing. In the summer, they either going on vacation, spending a lot of time with their family, coaching AAU games. It's a lot going on. So we understand that. We here, but it's a lot of people we want to, we would love Derrick Rose. We would love Jamal Crawford, Boogie, of course. But we want you when you're ready to play. And go at this level. That's what I'm saying. It's not easy in the Big Three. So I can understand. You got to be ready for it.
Sure. I'm so curious about the behind the scenes of it because you're naming these names, all legends. We all want to watch all of them play all the time. Every year, do you guys have just a running list, a growing list, and do you go out to people all the time, or have you gotten a memorable no, something that stood out to you?
Yeah, we got a no from Kobe Bryant. That's pretty memorable. But he was done. And when you're done, we don't really want you in the Big Three. We want you to come to the game and watch the game, maybe coach, maybe do something like that. But if you're not ready to still play at the pro level, then it's better for you to check it out from the sidelines. So, behind the scenes, it's a family. In the NBA, you can get away from people. You playing one game, you might not see them for another 6 weeks or a month. Here, you're going to see everybody every week. Don't lose because they're going to let you know the whole summer that you lost to them. And it's a lot of camaraderie. We got, from Hall of Famers like Dr. J and Clyde Drexler and the Iceman, all the way to guys who had a cup of coffee in the NBA, but they can play at the Big Three level. So you got all that, basketball history, and, basketball is like a big fraternity when it's all said and done. And I think they love being together all summer, competing, talking smack, and enjoying the game that they love at the highest level.
I got to get your opinion on, the current NBA. Obviously, Giannis being one of the names, but if you look at it in a 3-on-3 format, who would dominate right now?
Oh man, wow! I haven't even thought about that in this level, but I guess you gotta, Giannis would be, a great 3-on-3 player, but you gotta have a player that can actually, do it all to be, all three levels. SGA might be great. He could do it at all levels. And wow. And that's a good question. I ain't never even thought about that. Yeah. I guess you gotta, how can you count out somebody like LeBron playing this style? Like, one of the smartest basketball players ever. So, You know, yeah, that'd be a hard three to lose to.
Q, but a guy like Jokic struggle a bit in 3-on-3.
Hell no.
I don't know. You know,
I mean,
he was playing a big, but he could shoot inside out. I think he would have a ball with 3-on-3. As long as you didn't really stretch the floor that much on him, you know, if he went against a 4 or a 5 that could shoot a 3 good, he might struggle a little on D, but on offense, he dominate. You know, this game is built for the big man for sure.
Now, Cube, you've added a lot of big names over the last couple of years, a few with a huge media following, guys like Jeff Teague, guys like Steven Jackson. You know, how important is that with guys with such big platforms to, you know, expand the Big Three brand?
Oh, man, we love to have the personalities. We love to have people who already have a following, can help us grow the league. You know, that's what it's all about. We're still young, only 8 seasons in. And so, you know, we want all the influencers we can find to be a part of this. Anybody who has a loud megaphone, use it on the Big Three. So we look at that as icing on the cake when they, you know, really want to come in and play, and they still, you know, do their broadcast and they talk about the Big Three. You know, it's part of us growing the league and being part of the culture.
Cube, obviously you're synonymous with Los Angeles area sports. I mean, it seems like 14 years ago that LUKA got traded. But I got to know, sort of, where were you? What'd you think? Did you believe it? What was your reaction?
I didn't believe it at first. Of course, you know, you got to, you know, get on the internet and look, and you know, you start seeing multiple reports, and then you start saying, okay, this thing could be, seem like it's true. You know, I still think they need a center. I still think they need somebody in the middle who can deal with, you know, people like the Joker. But now they got to get more athletic, younger. You know, OKC came out the West, so they struggle with the Timberwolves. So younger, faster, stronger. I think Luke is a cool piece, but still think we need a few more pieces before we can compete.
Funny how that works. You gotta get more. All right, finals prediction: Thunder, Pacers. How many?
I'm gonna go with the Thunder. I think they can win in 6 games. I like the Pacers game, but the Thunder just seem.
That's about where we at.
I like 6.
They got defense, man. So. The Pacers, to me, they D is on and off. They like to play fast. That's their style. But OKC, I think, got the D to stop that.
All right, Cube, Big Three, June 14th, coming to us from paradise. We appreciate the time. Best of luck this season, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, take it easy.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Run it back, run it up, run it back.
Well, why don't we go ahead and take a look at some of the best bets, if we can, because believe it or not, we have a game tomorrow, guys. This thing finally kicks off. So we're going to take a look at some fun prop bets. Chandler, number of games. Let's start there. This is always a fun, easy one. Just get your palate wet on what you might think. Over, under 5.5.
It's such a good number because it's going 5 or 6. And
Funny how they do that.
I'm going over. I think I'm going over. I've been
Okay.
sleeping on the Pacers all postseason, all season long. I think
We
they're
all
going to
have.
compete. Their offense is really good. I'm going to go OKC in 6. So they go over there.
OKC 6. I'm like Q, Blue.
I've been flip-flopping back and forth about this. I'm
too.
really, it's either 5 or 6, right? Like, we feel like that's the sweet spot. I like Thunder in 5. I like Thunder in 5. Yeah, that 210 looks good to me. I want that 210 right there. I like Thunder in 5. I think the Pacers are gonna get a game, but I even feel
Thunder
like they
in
can get 2
5.
games. I don't know. I'm just so torn. This one isn't as clear cut as it usually is for us, but we hardly get it right anyway, so it don't matter. Thunder in 5.
Dang. Man, summer vacation's gonna start early, y'all. 5 is nothing. All right, let's do most made 3. This one is, I like this one a lot. Most made 3s. We'll throw it up there. You can see what's up. This is awesome. Lou, tell me what you're thinking. Miles Turner, Hilaire balls. Let's go.
Oh man, yeah, this is kind of rough. But you know what? I'm gonna go with a surprise pick. I'm gonna go Aaron Nesmith. I like Aaron Nesmith to be the recipient of Tyrese and the way that he makes plays for his teammates, the way he gets everybody involved. They're gonna have to take something away, and usually it's gonna be one of your star guys and one of your role players. Usually is gonna be the beneficiary of that. They're gonna make somebody else try to beat them in this game, and I think Nesmith is gonna be that guy. So with that, I think he's gonna be open a lot of the times on an offensive end with teams doubling and rotating off of Siakam, off of Holly. And I think he's going to be the recipient of that. So give me Aaron Nesmith's most total made threes.
Corner threes. Let's go.
I'm going to go Jalen Williams. I think the way that the Pacers are going to have to guard SGA, they're going to have to double team him. They're going to have to blitz him. They're going to have to throw just cold dudes at him at half court, which is going to leave a lot of wide open shots for a guy like Jalen Williams and Chet. Plus 1,000. I like Jalen Williams getting a lot of those.
Dang. Okay, here's a good one, Lou. This is
Hold on, Beadle. You tell us something. What you got? Who you like?
I kind of like the Aaron 8 of 9 Nesmith situation. Yeah, but you know what? You know me. I'm gonna be like Miles Turner and just see what happens, because he'll hit some threes just randomly, some big ones. The 30 points for SGA in every game, no matter how many games this thing goes. I like this one a lot. It's plus 500. Chandler, are you taking this one? A little action?
Yeah, and I have no reason to not. I have no reason to not. He's done it all playoff long. He's done it all season long. I think, again, unless it's the Pacers game plan, which it should be, to take the ball out of his hands, be extremely physical, pick him up 94 feet, keep switching guys like Nembhard and Toppin, put some size on him, Nesmith, he'll still find a way. He'll still find a way to get to the free throw line. He'll still find a way to get to the basket. So, yeah, I think he gets a 30 ball every single game.
That's
not bad. Not bad. I'm not rolling, though. I think 28 just keeps popping in my head. 28 just keeps popping up. I don't know what it is. So
Chandler, Lou's got visions today. He's got it's a whole vibe.
Yeah, I'm having clarity today. I got a lot of clarity today. So
the warlock.
Yeah, I think he gets 28 in a blowout game, and he sits and he don't get that 30. So I ain't rolling.
Can you imagine, Lou, 28 being your low in the series?
No, I can't imagine. I wish I did.
I
could imagine that.
It's a good plus. He's in a good spot. All right, we're going to take a quick break. More bets on the other side.
Run it back, run it up, run it back.
We've got fashion. All right, here we go, Chandler. It's obviously your hometown. New unis for the Magic. 90s nostalgia.
First of all, my number was 25, and I always wanted to play on my hometown team. And then they hit us with these jerseys with the 2-5. That middle jersey, I'm going to buy one. Like, I think these are so fire. These are so sick. I think these are the dopest jerseys ever. I loved them back in the day with Penny and Shaq, and now they tweaked them a little bit and made this.
When you say buy one, are you personalizing it with Parsons?
No, I'll probably go Palo or whatever. I don't know who I'm going to go with, but
okay, fine.
Those
Excuse me, George Gervin on the show tomorrow. What? Everybody get good sleep. It's going to be fun. See you then.
Run it up, run it back, yeah.